We are going to move now into our eco-poetry extravaganza. And as I said at the beginning, at the heart of that, we're going to be launching Elvie's book, but surrounding that, Anne has invited some really wonderful feature poets to read from their work as we get ourselves into an eco-poetic frame in order to celebrate Anne's book at the centre. So first, I'm going to ask Peter Larkin to speak. Let me read a little bit about Peter. Peter is beaming into us from the UK this morning. And as Emma Jane Mason said only last year, Peter Larkin is one of the most important poets writing today. So there's, no pressure, Peter, but that's quite a claim. Peter has contributed to The Ground Aslant, an anthology of radical landscape poetry, edited by Harriet Tarlow, who is, I think, also with us today in the gallery. A symposium on his work was held at Warwick University in the UK in 2018, and the proceedings of that appeared in the Journal of British and Irish Innovative Poetry. Among his recent Shearsman collections are Trees Before Abstinent Ground, 2019, and Encroach to Resume, 2021, a set of 100 2 to 3 line poems. Sounds Between Trees appeared earlier this year. Sounds pretty intriguing. So over to you, Peter, to read to us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rose. It's lovely to be here and to be part of this setup. I've been reading Anne's work for some years, but I think this really is the most tremendous collection she's ever produced. I read it 3 times, and there are so many. I've got endless little scribblings in the back, so many things that strike me, and the sheer range of technique, and yet the wonderful central focus that she produces. Well, I'm going to start by, I'm going to read from 2 pamphlets produced by this wonderful press, Guillemot in Cornwall. That's the first one, if you can see it. It's called 7 Leaf Sermons. The title was invented by Rupert Lloydell, who commissioned a number of poets to write a poem in a very strange format of 16 lines, each line having 10 words each. So it's a very ungainly format. But once I got into it, I decided to write another 6. So I'm going to read number 1. Trees won't be miracle filled, but can be leaf willed. This leaf not to be a weight to tree. How do leaves come to weigh out the entire trunk? Questionless once at arbor point might stir anything but a listlessness of root. They are the one element that won't pass through a tree. Too many straws in the wind. A leaf's tail is opposite its stalk. It never sleeps except in the dawn of bud. The tree was soon parted from its leaves, but not its wintering seed. What's this casts off any distress of tree? Simply wrinkles in leaf. Lacking leaf, a tree is not unhoused, but homeless enough, a leaf at last turns its page. It became apron only to the unclothing of indigent tree, litter for free. Sore leaves, no longer interior stakes of trunk passed across branch scrape, but sole sly ratchet in gear above tree. And now I'll read the 3rd poem. Different foregons, energy, sooner a leaf lethargy before spike zones of rain. Deciduous leaves were always thornless unless under hail. A leaf breathes in rain, but drinks from the root. The sound of rain is its light rattle, rinse sonics of dust down each veining canal. But not for this harmony did leaves measure the distance between wet and dry. Greenery is not directly shower pounded, other filters were intended. A canopy of splash drapes the former mists of leaf, latterly slight proof against fainting the path of rain. The rain swirl is what leaves didn't filter. They fold around one main curl further down. How root scope gets to think, sank, the shape of its trunk spiraled. Dew a potent jog on leaf. It films a module of non-rain about a narrow morning's brief. At a first glaze before the latent cloud arose, giving direct glint. And then I'll finish on this collection, just have a drink. With number 5. Assailable patience at a leaf's projection already assimilates to a branch bewilderment with its own pre-precarity. That the making had only to patent a leaf, forward of outward leaf is all inward taper. Leaves hit their secondary scar, no tree can seal itself to a recovery apart from this readherence. Rarely takes a homily in leaves. Counsel a tree, no hesitation before the green cloud of spring, but await the opaque substrates, guiding on through summer. Move to learn it a leaf? A tree incites these intemperate repeats, will not suffer a less than complete ravage without its annual apprenticeship. Solar panel, a leaf's eyeless lash burnt directional, or gazing out sunrise. No other niche for the leaf apart from strict, gullible exposure. Only the stalk learns what can remain hidden. Droop leaves from the sun haze of their own root girth. They will spark a slender trust, insurrectional to blaze. I'm not sure how much of that, will come across, but you can see that when I was young, I got very high on Dylan Thomas and never completely recovered. But now I'm going to just finish by reading a very few ultra short poems from this new collection. It's probably everything that is the wrong way around, which is another Guillemot pamphlet. They actually asked me if I'd got something that they could do. Never has a publisher asked me for work. It's a totally unique and no doubt unrepeatable experience. I think Julian's poem ended on the word prayer, and I'm going to read a very short selection of these ultra short poems, and they all have the word prayer in them. And I intend that as a tribute to Anne's profound underlying spirituality, which illuminates everything she writes. And I like the way that the word prayer simply becomes present just as a word. So number 39, a tree without a soul, watching, one adjacent prayer, touching. Number 42, pine unbidden as tree, unhidden in prayer. 45, a wrangle of parenthesis offered the poem within means of its prayer. 64, enter this parsimony, not failing the infinite, nothing shaken, but what is prayed more than itself. 76, that life shouldn't be over fulfilled, but prayer is the instillment, finitude a recess of stretched installments. 86, trees at a rate of ecology, tall entail of forest-spilt authority, the yoke, prayer, closer than earth's. 89, an unconditional in transit isn't temporary tree, Threads of time broken across branch coil round its overlapping prayer. And then the last one, 97, pray there is a difficult bower, allay its strenuousness in a diffident lure. Thank you very much. It's a great delight to offer those poems to celebrate Anne's work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. That was really, really wonderful. I think I speak for everybody, you know, how delighted and privileged we are to listen to you reading those wonderful poems. So walking with the trees will never be the same again, I suspect.